What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to a rather happy player ratings video here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have beaten Galatasaray by 4-0 on the night, 4-1 on aggregate, safely booking our place in the quarterfinals of this season's Champions League, where of course we'll take on familiar foes in Paris Saint-Germain. Tonight we're going to go through, give the referee, not that guy on the screen, that's just a placeholder image because we had these done before the game. We didn't know he was going to get injured, so let's all pretend that's the right referee. The players, the substitutes, the manager, and give them all a score out of 10. As always, you'll see 2 scores on every card. The upper right-hand corner is the average Anfield Agenda audience score, and the large square in the centre of the image is my score. If you'd like to play along in the comments, please do. In future, if you'd like to join us, don't forget, you can do so. Scan the QR code there on the screen. That will bring you into the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp, where you'll see after every game the player ratings form. You'll also be able to enter the giveaway for the competition you see on the screen there now. We're giving away a signed Kenny Dalglish framed shirt completely free with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner. Right, let's get into it. Let's start off with the referee, which wasn't the man on the screen, but nonetheless was absolutely shocking. Really poor from the referee to let the game unfold like it did at the start. Everybody knew what was going to happen, and on top of that, the decision to disallow Alexis Mac Allister's goal was nothing short of a disgrace, and the fact that VAR didn't act on that is an embarrassment. It doesn't matter if a team are 4-0 up, 5-0 up, 6-0 up. You do the right things in the right moments, and it's moments like that that undermine people's trust in VAR and the system. That was shocking. So for the referee, going to give him today a score of 4. And I think that's a fair score because he really was terrible. And there's a reason that man was a 4th official because, yeah, he was out of place out there. He didn't keep control of the game properly and just let them away with too much. The audience, you've gone similarly with a score for the ref of 4.2. Now, this is the one I struggled most with, ladies and gentlemen. How do I give a score to Mr. Alisson Becker when he had very little to do? They had 1 shot on target in the game, and I mean this as a complimentary way to our team. We were able to limit them to next to nothing. They didn't give much attacking threat. So for Alisson, I'm going to go for an average score of 6 because I really struggled to come up with a score based on the fact that he had not much to do, which is a good thing. And the audience have gone for a score of 6.6 for Ali. Moving on now to Milos Kerkez. I thought he was brilliant. I really do. I love the energy he brings. And yes, sometimes he can be a little bit rash, but that will come with experience. He'll temper that down. He was up for the fight tonight, as he always is. I really enjoy watching Milos play. And I think over the next 4, 5, 6 years, he's going to blossom into one of the best fullbacks in world football. Tonight, I'm going to give Milos a score of 7.5. And the audience thinking equally as good with a score there of 7.4 for Milos. Next up, our captain, Virgil van Dijk, and much like the goalkeeper, I kind of struggled to figure out the scores for the centre-backs because they didn't have much to do apart from getting into the opposition third and passing the ball around and being a menace from corners and all of that stuff. So happy to say I'm giving Virg a rather comfortable score of 7 tonight, and the audience have gone for a 7.2 for our captain. Next up, Mr. Ibrahim Konate. It was good to have him back in the starting 11. Obviously, he missed the Spurs game with, I think it was a tweak in his hamstring. Again, much like Virgil, didn't really have all that much to do tonight. I docked him an extra half a point because there was a couple of stupid little fouls that he gave away, or should I say, they bought and the referee allowed them to get away with. But for Ibu tonight, I'm giving him a score of 6.5. Mostly, though, as I said, because they didn't have that much to do. It isn't really a reflection on their performances more so as it is a reflection of the fact that we had very little defending to do. So it's a 6.5 from me and a 7.1 from the audience. Jeremy Frimpong, again, love him at right back. Feel much more comfortable with him there going forward because he does have the engine to get up and down that right wing. If I'm being honest, I do think Kerkez was a little bit better on the other side of the pitch, but that's not to say Jeremy didn't have a good game. I thought he played very good indeed. Now, all in all, ladies and gentlemen, that tonight, that's now the standard. That's what Liverpool have to try to maintain for the rest of the season. Because whilst we'll talk about tonight being a great night, I think it's also right to ask, where has this been all season and why tonight? What was it that was special? Was it the atmosphere? Was it the Champions League? Was it a sense of injustice or frustration after the first game? I don't know, but whatever it is, we need to try and summon it and go again because that was us. That is our identity. That is a Liverpool that we've all recognised, and I really enjoyed it. So for Jeremy tonight, I'm giving him a score of 7, and the audience exactly the same. A score there for Mr. Jeremy Frimpong of 7. Now I must point out, I don't know the audience score when I'm doing these. I'm finding them out in real time here with you guys. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? Because I'm recording this video, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Ryan Graff Gravenberch, I thought it was brilliant. I loved the way he was carrying the ball through midfield. And again, yes, maybe we didn't have as much of a battle in there tonight, but he looked silky smooth and he was winning back possession as well. It was just a thoroughly enjoyable performance all around to watch. So for Ryan, I'm giving him a score of 7.5. Good to see him get his name on the score sheet as well. Following in from Mohamed Salah's shot, which of course Ergin Kakir saved. And if you're wondering why I looked at the camera, you'd have to have been with us for the watch along. Ergin Kakir saved, and there was Dom to tap it in. So 7.5 from me and a 7.4 from the audience. Moving on now to Alexis McAllister. A good display from Alexis, got stuck in today. And again, I would say we won the midfield battle, but it wasn't even a battle. We absolutely wiped the floor with them in all areas of the park. And I thought that was a little bit more like Alexis McAllister than we've seen at most points this season. So for Alexis today, giving him a score of 7. And he was robbed of a goal, absolutely robbed of a goal. That was no way a foul, and I will never, ever, ever say anything else. The audience have gone with a 7.1, and again, good display from him. So thank you very much, Mr. McAllister, and hopefully you can carry that into the game against Brighton at the weekend. Now, the real star boy, the man of the match, the man of the night, absolute legend of a man, Mr. Dominic Szoboszlai. Stephen Gerrard said on TNT Sports, a future captain here, and I don't disagree with him. I love the goal he scored tonight for so many reasons. It was so clever. If you watch it back and break it down, firstly, you've got the, I think, right-footed pass from Mo. Dom makes a late move from the edge of the box. Kanade clears one man out of the way, and just as Dom steps up to strike it, if you notice, Ryan Gravenberch pulls out of the way to create the space for Dom to put it through with his left foot. It was a thoroughly enjoyable goal. Great work off the training ground as well. And Dom was quite simply unplayable tonight. Looked like a man possessed out there. Brilliant, brilliant display. So for Dom, it's a score of 9.5 from me. That's how good I thought he was. It was like watching Stevie G back in his prime. Phenomenal. And it was an 8.8 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Mr. Florian Wirtz, who, by the way, broke a record tonight, I think, for 8 big chances created, which I think is a tie, or it's a record from since 2003, 2004 in the Champions League for the Reds. So, again, he might not have gotten on the score sheet, but he does make things happen. He does create chances, and I thought it was a really good performance from Florian Wirtz tonight. If I was critiquing him on a few things, I would like to see him shoot a little bit sooner, and I do think he should be having a pop within, let's say, 20 yards of the goal. He should feel comfortable at that point to have a pop. But, like I said, I am nitpicking. Great performance from him. It's a score of 8 from me, and it's a 7.3 from the viewers. Now, Mohamed Salah. So, let me just say this. How nice was it to see Mo score that goal? It just brought back memories of all the years, all the moments in front of the Kop. That is a vintage Mohamed Salah goal. Lovely little bit of play on the edge of the box, pulls out into a bit of space and curls it into the corner. Yes, he did miss a penalty. Yes, he did have a couple of chances. But what was important was he didn't let his head drop. He kept going and he got his rewards. And hopefully that kicks him and the rest of the team on, because he had 10 touches, I think, in the opposition penalty area tonight. And again, really, really decent display from Mo, capped off with a great goal. I know people were frustrated in the first half, as was I, but he had his moment in the second half, and I do hope that kicks him on and that he really gets going for the rest of the season. So for Mo, it's a score of 7 from me, and it's a 7.4 from the audience. Now look, I docked him probably a point because there were chances missed. I don't hold the penalty against them. I always say this about anyone who steps up to take it. But a little bit of wastefulness across the front line, and this is us being uber picky, but really, really enjoyed that goal tonight from Mo. 7.4 from the audience. Right, Hugo Ekitike, again, got himself a goal, which was great to see. I loved the celebration, by the way. That was top notch. And I thought it was a good performance. First half, a little bit wasteful, running into some, blind alleys as well when he had better options. And that is something I think he needs to work on. But kept going, kept putting himself about, and got his very well-deserved goal as well. So for Hugo Ekitike tonight, it's a 7.5 from me, and it's a 7.7 from the Anfield Agenda viewers. Next up, Curtis Jones. I don't really remember, and I'm not trying to be facetious, I don't really remember too much about what Curtis did when he came on tonight. I was in La La Land at that point, in a good way, just enjoying what we were seeing. So I've got to be honest and say I'm somewhat sailing with the wind here, but I'm going to give him a score of 6, and the audience have gone with a score for Curtis of 6.3. Now, Cody Gakpo. I don't really think he did much when he came on, to be fair, and yeah, You know, did we miss him when he wasn't out there? Probably not tonight. There will be a place for Cody moving forward, of course, but I do think that was the right team selection tonight, and it paid off. So Cody is going to have to pull up his socks and battle to get his way back into the team. So for Mr. Gakpo tonight, it's a 5.5 from me, and it's a 5.4 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Rio Ngumoha, excuse me. I thought Rio, I would have liked to have seen him a little bit earlier, as I would with Trey Neone as well. But when he came on, as you can see, no fear, straight running at them, winning a free kick or two as well, if I'm not mistaken, and trying to make things happen. Nearly had himself an assist as well. So for Rio, for his little cameo off the bench of, I think, 8.5 minutes in total, got to give Rio a 6.5, and the audience have gone for a score of 6.2 for young Rio. Next up, Trey Neone. I love this kid. He seems so composed on the football, doesn't he? And he never ever looks out of place. Again, like I said about Rio, I would have liked to have seen him get a few more minutes when the game was won. But this is invaluable experience they're picking up on big Champions League nights, and I hope they enjoyed it because there's plenty more to come from them. So for young Trey, it's a 6.5 from me, and it's a 5.9 from the audience. Now, Federico Chiesa, again, it was lovely to see him smiling coming onto the pitch. I did think he put himself about a little bit and had a couple of moments where he looked to make stuff happen. So, very difficult to score these when you're only getting a few minutes on the pitch. So, for him, I'm going to give a 6, and the audience have gone similarly with a 5.9. Now, though, the interesting one, Mr. Arne Slot. You could see tonight that he clearly summoned his inner Craig on the sidelines. It was Craig-esque, dare I say it. But in all honesty, it was just enjoyable, wasn't it? To see the manager kicking every ball, that is what we need. The players feed off it, the stadium feeds off it, everybody together pulling in the same direction. And yes, maybe it did take some antics from Galatasaray to get it out of him, but a bit more of that, please. Game plan-wise, you have to say it worked. It was a very good performance, probably our best one of the season. Let's not get carried away as well, though, because we will play better teams than Galatasaray. But give the man his fair dues, give him his flowers for this evening, because he's had a hard time of it. And tonight, he got the lads to put in the performance that was needed, and I'm sure he feels pretty good about that as well. So, for Mr. Arne Slot tonight, it is an 8.5 from me. And I honestly don't know how we're going for a 6.7. I know people might not be happy with him and want him gone, but, you know, let's try to take each game on their merits. And he got the team set up right tonight, and he got a tune out of them. So I think that's a little bit on the low side from the audience, but I respect your decisions as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Anfield Agenda player ratings. Do let me know your thoughts on everything that I've gone through there. But most importantly, if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. That is now the standard. There is no more excuses. This is what they're capable of. They've shown us. It's up to them and the manager to make sure that this is repeated, that this is us going forward. Because if we play like that, it's going to take a hell of a team to beat us. So fingers crossed we see a repeat performance or something close to it against Brighton at the Amex at the weekend. And we can go off onto the international break feeling a little bit better, knowing that we come back, have Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain. What a time. What a few games to look forward to. We'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.